and I'm not going to have him subscribe to New Japan World, try to dig that shit up. Ain't gonna happen. I respect y'all, Chono and Muda, Tenzan, all you. Nothing but love, but nope. Number 2, don't expect these lists to be the same. Just keep in mind, JJ became a fan of business in the summer of '98, officially full. By that time, this split already gone down. It was a mess in WCW. So, and he became a fan. He always tells me his reference point is SummerSlam '98, which makes him a WWF fan by default, in my perspective. So, if you get lists that are clearly different, that is why. And as we do each and every other week when we do the wrestling episodes, you know he's going to say something for about 20 seconds. I'm going to go on for about 20 minutes on the same thing. So even if he doesn't say the entire story, you know I know the entire goddamn story, especially on this show. So, JJ, my friend, I am, again, much like we did with the Steve Austin show, much like we did with a lot of the shows so far this summer, I am not privy to your choices, and I will mention should you have them. So, by all means, let the world know what your choices are for the great NWO moments of the last 25 years.
First things first. This looks kind of weird to me, so let's just go ahead and do that real quick.
Okay, all right.
Put you in your spot where you belong.
Well, thing. I appreciate that. That's right, because Hollywood is the alpha dog. So there you go.
You know. Full disclosure, we were originally going to put up a logo that had both the Wolfpack and Hollywood, and the Wolfpack was on the other side, so it made sense for me to be over there. But when we decided to go with this one, I should have flipped it, and now I did. So, anyway.
And we figured since the plan to put this all in black and white anyway, if it posts, might as well just keep it uniform.
Yeah. So, I'm gonna be surprised if we don't have. I'm gonna guess at least half the same.
Okay.
Because I feel like a lot of my top moments are ones that you're probably gonna have as well.
More than likely, yeah, because they're probably the more well-covered, well-known. Right, yeah, exactly.
My first one that I'm gonna cover, my number 10, is one that's on here sheerly for comedy purposes.
Oh boy, here we go.
And it occurred in late July of 1996.
Oh, geez. You're a bad person. You're wrong for saying that's funny. That's terrible.
I can say this was funny because I was a full-blown Mysterio fanatic. Still kind of am.
True that.
But when I saw this clip the first time, I was doubled over, laughing my butt off.
Oh, yes.
Like, legit grabbed the remote control, rewound the tape a couple times.
Oh, there you go.
Just to watch him go, whee! Into the side of the production truck there.
That dates it. Rewound the tape to watch it again.
Yeah. I affectionately call this moment Lawn Dart Mysterio.
Oh. He did like he was a dart! Calm down, Larry. It's okay. Jesus.
So yeah, that is my number 10 moment because the NWO was still in the infancy.
Yes.
You know, they had officially come together just a couple weeks prior.
Right.
And it was the first real takeover, if you will. Them running roughshod on the locker room.
This was a show of force.
So that is why that makes it onto my list. And poor Mysterio, you know, had to be the sacrificial lamb, if you will. But you needed a good cruiserweight that was going to be able to get on that rail, get some hops, and then be light enough to just go whee into the production company.
What I love about that moment is he's telling Eddie and Alex Wright that as he's getting his mask taken off, which Tony's going bonkers over at the announce table, that there was a fourth man. We only saw Scott and Kevin, but we know Hulk's there because he's the third man. but who was the fourth guy? And we didn't get a fourth guy added till an entire month later on Nitro with Mr. DiBiase. So, was DiBiase the fourth guy there at the time? Who was back there at Disney MGM? And that's the other thing. This happens at Disney. Like, the happiest place on earth ain't so happy. Right? And legit fire squads. Cops got called by surrounding areas because the people around the resorts thought there was a gang war going on backstage at MGM, and over there. So a lot of what you saw back there was legitimate law enforcement and paramedic people, which is funnier than hell to me looking back now. It's like, man, reality era started in wrestling in the 2000s? I think so.
But yeah,
good stuff.
Like I said, every time I see that clip, I just start cracking up.
Ray and the sacrificial.
I just had to include it. That one I'm fairly certain won't make your list. But
No, I mean it's very much. We did the watch along of that whole show on Tuesday on Twitter, and it's what really got that show for me was Bobby coming to the table and like, I don't feel safe. I'm bouncing. And granted, he's a weasel anyway. He's a chicken shit anyway. But that wasn't Bobby the Brain Heenan, the weasel, weaseling out of something. That was Ray Heenan going, I ain't sticking around for this. I have neck problems, Tony. You too. If you knew it was good for you, get out of here too. And to Tony's credit, he and Zbyszko and Bischoff stayed. I mean, Bischoff was behind the whole thing, so he was safe. Chicken shit. Anyway,
we didn't know that then.
We of course we didn't know that, and the way we found out was all thanks to you and Teresa's boy, and that was a hell of a moment. So anyway, carry on, sir.
My number 9 moment comes to us from the WWE NWO.
All right. So is this post WWE name change, or is this still the WWF era of the particular?
When was the name change?
May 6th was the first episode of Raw with the new name.
So it was post name change.
Yep.
It comes to us from June 3rd of 2002.
Ah, yes.
And a new member was introduced.
Oh, yeah.
Shawn Michaels becomes the newest member of the NWO.
Too cool for school, man.
And, I mean, there were a couple different shots that I could choose for this one.
Oh, yeah.
But I wanted to get the classic two dudes with attitude pose there in the middle of the ring.
Hell yeah, man. Dig it. I dig it the most.
I mean, just seeing those two back together again, as ill-fated as the WWE's NWO was.
Oh, yeah.
Primarily due to injuries. Let's be real.
Yeah.
Some of it was booking, but some of it was injuries.
I will even dispute both of those, actually, but we'll get there.
But this was a cool NWO moment nonetheless.
Yes. Like I said on Monday, the WWE NWO was doomed. Yes, injury did take Kevin out for most of the run. It is what it is there. Scott and Sean Waltman's issues definitely did not help.
Yeah.
Scott especially. I mean, the flight from hell from Europe got him and Kurt Hennig both fired, so there's that. So, it was one of those things where, much like a lot of the WCW hires post-invasion, too little too late.
Yeah.
And I'm grateful, when I get to my list, you'll see why I'm grateful there was a WWE presence after that, so we'll talk about that. Anyway.
My number 8 is another moment that is definitely a comedic moment, although it is a moment that Sleazy E himself has said that he wishes he could take back.
Oh boy, here we go.
From September 1st of 1997.
Oh, Lord forgive me for this one. Oh, man. Oh, jeez. Look at that. Good grief.
the NWO parody The Horseman.
Oh my goodness.
Now, yes, the whole Arn situation was not funny and should not have been lamped in.
Right.
But that being said,
Yeah.
without this moment, we don't get DX parodying the nation, I don't think.
That's a safe assumption.
I feel like Hunter saw this and the fact that X-Pac was in both of them
Right.
and was like, we can do this too. Just as good, if not better.
I love how Sean Waltman's most Kevin being Arn's terrible, but Sean Waltman being the most exaggerated in both groups. Flair with the nose from here to Tuesday, much like Owen Hart's later in Sensation, and then playing Mizark Henry.
Yeah. And full-blown blackface.
Not a good look there, Granddaddy Sean. Not a good look. Anyway.
But it was funny. The subject matter was questionable. If they had parodied The Horseman and left Arn's retirement out of it, gold. Gold.
Agreed.
But the subject matter is what makes it controversial and what makes Eric wish that he hadn't done it.
Yeah.
But it doesn't make it any less funny.
Yeah. And
especially in the moment.
Right. And not to harp on minutia, put the picture back up for me for a minute, if you will, please, sir. Okay, I get Kevin, leader of the group, major figurehead, definitely an Arn-worthy component. X-Pac had been feuding with Ric Flair all year, like all damn year, pretty much since they joined the company, right? Bagwell being Kurt Hennig fits because they're both a couple of arrogant toe rags at the time. Some would say now too, but Marcus is my buddy, and I don't go there with him. What the hell is Conan doing in there?
Dude, he's Mongo. Come on.
What the Why? There's like 45 members of the NWO. Why the hell is Conan part of this? Like, they could have put any. Why not Scott Hall? Hello, I know he was on the card at Fall Brawl. Wolfpack plus Bagwell. Come on.
I think a lot of it has to do with the fact that maybe Conan wasn't doing as much at the time, and Conan does have great mic abilities. I'm not going to say that other NWO members aren't mic inclined, but once you got past Conan's shtick on the microphone, the rest was like whatever.
I think the shtick itself was whatever. Oil of Olay, Arriba La Raza, or whatever the hell he said. Like, the same damn thing every week. Like, Oil of Olay, burrito and cheese, whatever the shit he said. Like, whatever. Like, oh my God. Like, and it was funny, like...
Don't forget getting bad about it and rowdy.
Yeah. We in the Wolfpack is Socos Somos Locos forever. Like, what the fuck did you just say, Conan? You on American TV. You want to be on the Spanish TV, go sit with Hector, put on his gobbledygooker head so you look better, and then do the commentary. Thank you very much. Jiminy Christmas, Conan. And I just really fucked myself with him being on any part of my shows ever again, so I really don't care. At this point, I don't give a shit. But seriously, like, it makes so much more sense to have Scott Hall be a part of that. And I only say that not just because I am very much more a fan of Scott Hall than Conan, but if you're going to have them be in the cage with the Horsemen, you throw your alpha dogs at them, the alpha wolves at those guys. Hall, Nash, Waltman. Boom. And since Bagwell's parodying the guy that's going to turn anyway, might as well have it be Bagwell because it's a throwaway part of it because Kurt's going to end up being the heavy anyway.
Yeah.
Like, and again, I'm not trying to shit on Conan. I end up doing it anyway. But seriously, Big Show said in the DVD, how many freaking Leos showed up with the NWO members? Like, they could have put anybody in there. It would have been better than, well, maybe not anybody, because Virgil being a part of anything is never better than anything. We're just picking off the minorities on the show today. All right, let me.
I was going to say, just be careful what you wish for.
so let me think. Okay. So they could have put Michael Wall Street in that thing. It would have been better than Coney. There we go. That's a lie. Anyway. Carry on. Just been a bitch of mine for 25 years. It's like, dude, you're going against the Horsemen in their match. Throw the Wolfpack at these guys. At least try.
All right. So my number 7
Lucky Step
is more of a media moment than anything.
Okay.
And it comes from... The image isn't from the official debut.
Oh, okay.
But Rodman joining the NWO.
Oh, yeah, baby. Love that. God, that shirt is just so Rodman, just so arrogant. Like, my God. Jeez.
Now, obviously, the image is from his match debut. My moment is his official debut, which was March 13th, 97 at Uncensored.
Right, and then, yeah, this one here is from his second match, which was definitely interesting as well as the first match. I mean, this one here, God, this was definitely I think this is more of the media moment than the first match, because this one here was with Malone involved, and man, that got attention.
Yeah.
I mean,
I just love that image, though. I was trying to find a good image of Rodman and Hogan, and that was like the best one I could find. So I'm
good.
Sorry
if
that's not the official image, but
you're good.
I just gravitated towards that one.
It's a great image. Like I said, him wearing that white t-shirt with his big old head on there. It's like, dude, that's such a cocky Rodman thing. That's even worse than the black and white shirt they made for him, where it's like he's like kind of there, and like Bischoff wore that shirt a bunch. That white shirt with his stupid, goofy golden hair. Thank you for that, Rodman. You made Shelton Benjamin want to turn his hair gold, so thank you for that. I'll never understand the whole gold hair compulsion. I don't get it. I think it looks silly. Just silly. But yeah, that shirt is just very much NWO Hollywood. Rodman, like, cock of the walk. I'm going to go in there and I'm going to be as bad as I want to be, like his book said. But yeah, his entire presence in WCW is just media moment for days. You've got him, cutting the promo with Hulk, Hollywood. Correct my own damn self, Jesus. The Nitro in Panama, or they're backstage at his movie premiere. Induction into the group the same night on Nitro. Then he's at Uncensored and literally makes sure the NWO wins their big main event match. Then he walks into Daytona, and again, I'm going to talk about it later on my list, but he's walking down the aisle with Hulk Hogan and Randy Savage. Like, if you're a wrestling fan, that's like ping moment in your head. Like, Jesus, Hogan and Savage on either side of you. That's huge in any wrestling circle.
Yeah.
And then, the following year, like I said, to go out to Planet Hollywood out here in Los Angeles and be at a media freaking frenzy. DDP was like, I never seen that many people in one place in my life that wasn't part of one of my clubs in Florida. Like, there was just people. From all walks.
On top of people on top of people.
Very much so. It's like it was elbows to asshole in that entire club, because you had the two biggest names in the NBA at the time on opposite sides of the teams, with Hulk Hogan, Hollywood Hogan, and DDP as Karl Malone's partner. It didn't get any bigger. Plus, it had Tonight Show coverage. So it was just a huge moment. His third foray with Randy, it wasn't NWO, so we're not going to talk about it too much here. Kind of fell flat. Wasn't like, it was just really, like, you didn't know who the heel was. It was a very weird feud. So I'm glad that wasn't NWO, because they had completely dissolved by then. And the main event was actually Hogan and Nash. So there you go. People have criticized me for being a fan of Rodman, and I had to point out, not a fan of his overall #shenanigans. Much like I wasn't a fan of Mike Tyson's outside of sport, quote-unquote, shenanigans. But when he stepped into Boston and was a member of DX and then made the turn at the end and helped Steve Austin usher in his era, I'm a fan. He was a fan. When Rodman walks down there wearing one of these shirts wearing the Hollywood shirt often at times too. He did during that first summer. I can't. Whatever Rodman did on the court, I was a Bulls fan. 3-peat with him too. So I ain't gonna bitch about that. If you win championships, I got you. You're good. I'm not gonna shit on success. Any means necessary, even in pro sports. I said what I said. So people that have crapped on me for liking Tyson, liking Rodman, it's like, you know what? It's wrestling. It's fake. Get over it. Seriously. He did the job he was hired to do, and I dare say the first 2 outings at Uncensored and the first match, he did it well.
Exactly. My number 6.
6.
I'm just going to throw it up there.
Oh, geez.
Because it brought us into this show, and it deserves some coverage.
Hell yes. Oh, yeah. Love it. Now, there's about 1 million of these, obviously.
We're talking about the original. The very first promo, which I believe was also the debut of Rockhouse for them.
I believe you're right. It's awesome.
So those two things go hand in hand. You can call it an AD if you will.
Definitely.
It's hard to have an image of Rockhouse as that's a song, but you know.
Right.
Hearing that voice, seeing that image, and then hearing Rockhouse behind them as they did their promo, which Hall and Nash were very straightforward, very real, and Hogan was Hogan.
Right. Yeah.
And they chopped it up and they made it work. And it just added to the overall presentation, to the mystique, to the legacy of the primary 3 men we're talking about today. Yes, there were about 573 other members, but you know, our main focus is those 3.
It's funny you say that. When I was doing my initial thing with the nWo this year back in May, I sent a kind of a quiz thing out to Greg, because he's the trivia guy. I said, rapid fire, name every member of the nWo that was acknowledged on American television prior to the Wolfpack split. And I was astounded by my own damn self. 30 between Bash at the Beach 96 and April of 98.
Wow.
What astounded me even more, Jay, other than the nWo 2000 girls, that little group of girls that included Tylene and April Hunter and everybody else, 15 new members after that in the entire rest of the history of the faction. 15 between 1998 and 2021. No, I'm not counting you, Miss Jenner. I don't care what Kevin Nash says. It ain't getting counted on this show, brother. Just doesn't work for me, brother. 15 new members in the last year, including Booker T, or also Booker T and Shawn Michaels in 2002. But 30 in the first 2 years. It seems like so. I know what's more insane, the number or the fact that it seemed like so many more.
30 members out of about a 40-man roster.
Goldberg, Nash, Raven's Flock was the other third, and the Horsemen. You know, it's like, people get on AEW for being faction heavy. Horsemen, nWo, Flock, Wolfpack,
LWO.
Yeah. LWO, which was everybody south of the border at that point, and Eddie.
Except Mysterio.
Well, no, Mysterio was there. He just wasn't willing to do it. And then when they tried to take the shirt off him, he refused and got jacked. Anyway, you would think he'd learn after being a freaking, sacrificial mule, lamb, to stop messing with Kevin Nash. Nope. Silly little beanpole. Anyway, carry on.
We're at the halfway mark.
Oh, yeah.
My number 5 is an A&B, an official A&B that I have images for. like I said, it's kind of hard to have an image for a theme song.
Oh, okay.
Part A comes from January 24th of 2002.
Ah, yes. Yes.
Vince McMahon injecting his company with the little poison.
Lethal dose.
And then you can probably guess what B is going to be.
Oh, yeah.
February 17th. They make their WWF debut.
Oh, man. Oh, man.
And, you know, I was watching one of my infamous wrestling bios the other day, kind of getting ready for this.
Right.
And the guy narrating talks about the promo that they cut in the ring that night. And how very snarky and sarcastic and trying to be the babyface they were being.
Condescending is the word, brother. Oh, man. Love it.
And I buy that for Hall and Nash. When you watch Hogan, you could see that he was a little choked up being back in that ring in front of those fans. Not everything that came out of Hogan's mouth that night was complete and utter bullshit.
You have to remember.
I was going to say, I don't think he was prepared for the reaction he got, and it completely knocked him on his ass. Which, of course, led to turning babyface a month later, right after the Mania match.
You have to remember something, Jay. Kevin and Scott, well, Scott didn't, because Scott was a mess, but for the most part, the two of them got to leave WCW on their own terms. Not only did Hulk basically get pushed out of WCW on this day 21 years ago, but his rep was completely blown out of the sky in the process. And for him to not know if he would ever be back with anybody mainstream, and then for them to walk out there as the Poison, and for Hulk to still get that reaction, I know for a fact, blew him away. Very, very cool moment. Like what you like, don't like what you don't like what you like about the NWO and the WWF, WWE, but that initial month, solid Goldberg.
Yeah. And that'll be the last of the WWE NWO on my list, because the last four spots, you know, are too high in my opinion to have that variation.
Honorable mention then in that case, X-Pac's return and Lane Hogan opened the chair on SmackDown. Hogan fan though I am, Waltman's my boy. That was a hell of a moment for him and for the group, because the Wolfpack was back together and they weren't done by a long shot. So good for them in that moment.
My next four entries come within just under a 4-month span of each other.
Oh wow! Okay.
That just should tell you how hot 96 was.
It's gotta be 96. It's gotta be 96. We're talking about 4-month span.
Number 4, from June 10th of 96. Kevin Nash's debut.
I love this shot on so many levels.
You know, you say what you will. This moment didn't impact me as much as some of the others I'm about to talk about did. Right. But I felt like it would be disrespectful to have this in the bottom half of my list.
Oh, definitely, yeah.
So that's the only reason I made it number 4.
Okay.
You know, I almost had the Vince and WWF debut ahead of this.
Oh, wow.
Because again, you know, no disrespect to Nash, but that moment didn't have the same effect on me that some that I'm going to talk about in a moment did.
And as we talked about, you came in late in the game, so you're seeing these all in hindsight anyway. So,
yes,
yeah.
I'm seeing these on, WWE produced bio DVDs.
Or I dare say WWF home video or WCW nWo for Life VHSs.
No,
I didn't think you bought those. I've got them all somewhere.
I'm sure you do.
No, I do.
Before we came on, I mentioned an image to you that I could not find when I searched it, that I actually had to create myself.
Okay.
My number 3 is that image.
Okay. So
Okay.
I will preface this by saying that if I know, once I see what the moment is, I will find a way for it. So, you know me in nWo, I will track that shit down like a bloodhound. So.
Okay, but it comes from August of 1996.
Okay. Oh man. Yeah.
Hogan has just defeated the Giants.
Woo!
He spray paints the belt for the first time.
It's funny you say you couldn't find an image of that, because when I see that, I think of the classic image of him, belt out in front of him, holding it, that rugged look on his face.
That I could find hundreds of pictures of.
But I get, you wanted the moment of the actual
Yes.
face. That's a beautiful nuance. Nicely chosen. Love that.
Thank you.
And for the record, I ain't gonna track that shit down. It's too hard. You're right. It's a bitch. I've tried. Like you, I've tried for years.
See? I know what I'm doing, Jeff. Give me some credit here.
It ain't there, brother. Yeah, I mean, screen capturing that alone is a pain in the ass. So good on you for doing it. Good lord.
But yeah, man, watching that take place solidified the fact that they were here to stay.
You and I are both belt marks by admission. We're both fans now. We both recognize how cool it is. Man, the old school boys, especially Flair, Dusty, Steamboat, Sting, you know what list I'm going down here. They were what the hell, like, that's the belt that that Crumry created for us, that we've had since 80s. Like, what the shit? So much history. Going back to 1905. No, you idiots. Going back to 88, but anyway. 48 if you got the NWA. Even still, you're off by freaking 43 years, you dingberries. And again, nitpicky. It's my channel, our show. If you go by the lineage, yes, it can be traced back. But the WCW Championship was not created in 1905.
No.
I don't even think Ted Turner's family was in this country in 1905. And if they were, those of you in Atlanta, please correct me, jdmeach1@outlook.com. Okay? There you go. And I will go to CNN Tower and admit my defeat by kissing the ground or whatever the shit you want me to do. But I don't think I'm wrong.
But yeah, I mean, I'm gonna throw it up there one more time. Just
oh god, oh I know, man. Oof.
So pretty. Like, it still gives me chills to watch.
It does. And what's even greater is it's so funny. The belt's been repaired since then because we've seen it with Conrad or whatever. But that bend at the top of it lets you know that's the real belt. That's the original big gold belt, because they made it a big deal on this day 21 years ago. That when Jarrett came back out, bending the belt. Tony's like, I know that. That's real. I've seen it before. But Tony, you've been with the company every year except 2 of your careers. Shut up. We know who you are. Freaking mark for yourself, you dork. But yeah, that's the belt, man. Like I said, Flair, Dusty, Garvin, Steamboat, Sting, Ravishing Rick Rude, Barry Windham, Muda, Chono, all those guys held that belt. And Hogan's like, that's nice. That's cool. Mine now.
Yep.
And what's funny is, if you look at the original Big Gold, I've not been close to it yet. Working on that. Conrad, looking at you, brother. There's still flecks of red paint from the Wolfpack spray, because they just couldn't no matter what they did to it, it just would not come out. So that's kind of funny. What's even funnier looking back historically further back, toward the bottom there's a little fleck of white paint, just pure white, like it's house paint white. And the theory in the book is that it was Sting applying his paint and it dripped down and he didn't notice it. And it stayed on there the rest of the belt's history. It just never got wiped away, and now it's embedded in there, so it's part of the gold belt's history. But yeah, there's red Wolfpack flex in the center plate. It's like, for life, brother. They mean what they say, Chico.
Yep. Number 2. Probably going to be controversial that it's number 2 and not number 1.
Ooh, get my attention.
But it's July 7th, 1996.
Definitely have my attention. My goodness.
And the heel turn turned round the world.
Oh, man. Oh, man. Whew. I'll get into this later on my list, but...
I'm sure you will. I mean...
Yeah. Wow. Oh, man. Just a moment.
It was monumental, earth-shattering.
Yeah.
Every adjective that you want to use to describe it.
Or verb, if you want to be correct, Kevin.
Hush.
You're right, adjective in this case. Kevin, not so much before.
But, I mean, it was the leg drop heard around the world.
It really was. It was everything the body slam at WrestleMania 3 was exponentially modified by media coverage.
Yeah. And since I know that you will talk at length about that when we get to your list, I'm just going to move right along to my number 1.
I'm curious what you got here.
We don't get to number 2 without my number 1, and that's why it is my number 1.
Okay.
May 27th of 1996.
Yes.
As I said when we came on in my horrible impression, you knew who he was, but you didn't know why he was there. Without this, we don't get Nash debuting at number 4. We don't get the mystery third man, July 7th, and Hogan's turn. This caught so much traction that the NWO was able to become a thing. Without Scott coming through the crowd during a BS match that probably had no purpose on Nitro except for the fact that Scott was able to crash it.
During a BS Nitro, let's not kid ourselves. That first 2-hour Nitro, I couldn't tell you what damn thing happened on that show except Mike Enos facing the Mauler, Mike Enos facing Steve Dahl because of Scott. And in fact, Colonel Parker was managing Mike Enos that night because Colonel Parker, much like he did the rest of the year, ran with the NWO like a chicken shit.
But I mean, you can't dispute me on the fact that without that moment, we don't have a Hogan heel turn.
Yeah, I'm not going to disagree with you whatsoever. I think that definitely gets that little pebble at the top of the snow hill running down the mountain, and off we go.
So there is my number 1.
Very good, sir.
And now to tell me to hold my beer, my honey jack, my whatever else Scott was doing at the time. I turn it over to the owner-operator, the West Coast professor, the man, the myth, the legend, Jeff Meacham. Take it away, good sir.
Thank you very much, sir. I appreciate that. You fit an introduction. Some people are talking about that, not gonna lie.
I just got to know, though, sir. How did I do?
You did very well. I'm not gonna lie. For the
NWO
record,
is definitely your buffet, if you will. Your platter of greatness. Like any reason that you can get for me to talk positively about Hogan, I know is a good day in your book.
Goddamn right. So,
just got to know how I did though.
For the record, two of yours made my honorable mention category.
Okay.
Then another, technically 1, 2, 3, 4 made my overall list. So.
Okay, so.
You done good.
That's what I was hoping. I figured about half my list would be represented by you, and between your official list and your honorable mentions, that's 6 out of 10. So you know.
There you go.
I feel like I did good then. Okay, I'm curious. Educate me, Professor.
Very good, sir. Well, honorable mention number 4 is a WWE moment, ironically. And it was the last time that the original trio actively walked out to be involved in some sort of match shenanigans. WrestleMania 31, Santa Clara, California, during the Sting versus Triple H match. I can probably relate better than a lot of people about this, having briefly gone through the DDPY program and having myself turned around enough. Seeing Scott out there in his glory and able to get physically involved was just nothing short of a miracle. And Kevin, on his Rey Mysterio level of knee surgery at that point, still was tremendous. Hulk, of course, did his thing as well. But seeing everybody, these 3, Sting, everybody, every living member of DX was out there. Just a weird, classic, beautiful moment. And it was instigated by these 3 showing up at WrestleMania together. Super cool. Honorable mention number 3, going up the tier here, was on your list, as I said. And it was something that is in the category of,
what could have been. I mean, you see this promo unfolding throughout the course of an episode of SmackDown. It's after the Royal Rumble. It's after Ric Flair has defeated Vince McMahon on his own pay-per-view. Granted, it's in Atlanta, so it's WCW's backyard, but, you know, the Royal Rumble is a Vince McMahon company creation. And Vince is just beside himself. He's so forlorn. He's just angry that Ric Flair has purchased half his company and essentially taken it out of his hands. He is just completely lost his damn mind. He's talking to a mirror, we find out at the end of the show. We think he's been talking to somebody, but he's actually talking to himself in the mirror. And in that very last segment, holy crap, he flips around, and there are the letters. You see it there in the promo with that horrible look on his face. NWO. Vince McMahon is actually going to attempt to kill his own company by bringing in the same people that he knows killed WCW. And he's willfully doing this. He is so just unbelievably furious and insane about Flair taking over his company that he's willing to bring in these killer elements to destroy his own creation. It was such a mind-boggling, just such a great friggin' promo, and it could have led to so much more incredible things, and it just fizzled out. It just sucked.
There you go. By the way, honorable mention there too. I saw the picture of it because it's just too damn funny. And I didn't want to get you all that later for putting it up there. Honorable mention number 2 of the tier. Y'all are going to hate me for including it. I don't care. It's my part of the show. And this is another of, man, what could have been. Everybody in the upper tier stays healthy. If they cut the cancer that is the bottom tier out of that group, if they don't involve the Flair youngin and the blonde, and they keep the disco out of the Wolfpack colors as much as possible ever again, this moment and the finger poke that led to it could have been something beautiful. But no, everybody gotta get hurt. Don't fuck it up. When you look at this picture, 3/5 of this group ends up with injuries that sideline them enough where the Wolfpack Elite just crumbles under its own damn feet. But just think, these guys right here, plus Bagwell, plus Liz, plus Bischoff, shrinking it down, core group, feed the heel machine to go. We've talked about this, I believe, in private. I don't know if we did it on the air, so if I did, I apologize. We've got 5 people here, plus Bagwell. That's 6. This happens January 4th. Like you said to me, I'm pretty sure it was just in private. You have 6 months there before Bash at the Beach. 6 pay-per-views. If you don't hotshot it, you can take the 6 you have and have the first victim fall to Goldberg at Super Bowl. And just bing, 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 bing. And the main event championship match with Hogan and Goldberg is at Bash at the Beach 99. Instead of a cockeyed, half-assed Randy Savage and Sid Vicious versus Kevin Nash and Sting where the winning pin becomes champion. And then the next night it doesn't matter because Hogan's champion again anyway. But Scott Hall gets hurt. Luger gets hurt. Scott Steiner gets hurt also. And Hogan's knee is Rey Mysterio level screwed. So it's a mess within a month or 2. Nothing you can do there. All right. Honorable mention 1, the top tier I'll mention is actually a 1A and a 1B. And 1B is the very first time we get a commercial on the promo for the shirt. If you've heard Greg and I in the last how many years go, buy the shirt! It's all Kevin Nash's fault. This is why. And as was told in this commercial, you get large, extra large, giant size. And every piece of that funds goes to Ric Flair Retirement Fund. So good on them for helping Ric Flair settle his retirement nice and early there. And good for being charitable. Good people. I love it. 1A, as you mentioned, the debut of the promos and the debut of Rockhouse out of the Turner Library. Is there any more? And again, we did see Boston's show recently, and the breaking of the glass is most certainly iconic. I'm going to dare take that away from him.
Oh, no.
But is there any more iconic start of a wrestling theme song over the last quarter century than when that first thing hits? You know, as soon as that twang and the guitar hits, the shit is on. Whoever's coming out of that curtain, be it Hulk, be it Bischoff, be it the Outsiders, whatever. It's on like Donkey Kong, kids. And that's one of my go-to songs to get going in the morning to this day, 25 years later. And it's bonkers, but it works for me. Especially those YouTube cuts that go 30 minutes. Those are tremendous. I love those. Those are great. 30 minutes of Rockhouse, you'll be ready to do any damn thing, and you'll be able to tear people's heads off, literally, because you'll be so damn insane. You don't have the shit to do with yourself.
Just don't tear your quad getting out of bed.
Well, no, I usually do that when I get halfway across the house and trying to run for something. And it's like, oh wait, I got, and then end up doing it. Anyway.
Jeff Kevin Nash himself.
I done did it. All right, number 10 is, it's not really 10A and 10B. I just had 2 pictures. because by sheer happenstance and crazy luck, the pandemic, they happened the same year. They weren't supposed to, but they did. Eric Bischoff's induction into the WWE Hall of Fame, of course, the core thing. I think it is so cool that the faction and the promoter that literally aimed to take the WWE down wear WWE Hall of Fame rings as members of that group. The historical irony is funnier than shit. For real. I love that. And I love that Bischoff's humble. When Bischoff doesn't do humble very well, you know this. And these four guys are goober laughing about the whole thing. And the biggest beard is on Sean Waltman. Take that in for a moment, shall we? God damn it, Sean, for real. I know it's a pandemic, but Christ's sakes. You're not a sports fan. You shouldn't have that kind of beard. Come on, Sean. I know you're married, at least have a fiance, man. She can't like that. And if she does, good on her.
Hey, man, there's a lot of women out there that think beards are sexy.
Volunteer? Okay. Anyway.
Just talk to Brie Bella.
Number 9 is something that, when it happened, even the most staunch NWO fans are like, "Oh, no, come on. You're supposed to be against us. You freaking fell in line." And they're like, oh, "Okay, cool, you're one of us now." Super Brawl 7, San Francisco, Macho the Train. Brother. Oh, man. Ugh, just... No matter how hard Randy tried throughout his career, it was one of two things. At Terry's side, opposite Terry in the ring. That's it. And when they were together, they were deadly. Mega Powers, Monster Maniacs, whatever you want to call them, got together, especially in the black and white, especially with Evil Elizabeth. Let's not discount that for a moment. Our pretty demure little pure Miss Elizabeth. Oh no. No more. When a couple of the following pay-per-view, the two of them were up on a stage on the announce table showing Kimberly's spray-painted goodies and Playboy to the world. You knew that our little sweet Miss Elizabeth and her protectorate Macho Man were not what they were 10 years before.
turn of the head to the side,
Yeah.
taking it in.
Yeah.
And they turn back. Their eyes meet for a second.
Yep.
And turn to the other side.
I mean, just look at that. Just them looking at the crowd like, and you know, if telepathy is a real thing, they're telling you like, dude, this is fucking this. Oh my god, look what we got. We got 68,000 people, and not one of them is looking anywhere but right here. This is where the power lies, brother. Right, it's old Hogan promo, but they right there, both of them. Just a tremendous piece of business. Number 7 carries on to the one you created the image of yourself with your amazing screen cap.
Thank you.
I took the lazy way out. Besmirching Big Gold. I mean, talk about iconic NWO moments. It's Hollywood Hogan with an evil look on his face, with the early beginnings of the black unshaven beard, and the most prestigious prize in the sport adorned with black spray paint and made an NWO piece of property. Just in front of a pro NWO crowd, because the biker folk is crazy. And poor Ed Leslie, man. Freaking Brutus can't catch a break. He brings the spray can and the cake out to Terry. And that's nice. Shut up. And then he goes to exclusion for 2 years, grows a ridiculous beard so you can't recognize him as him. Oh, this is like... Oh, wait, it's beefcake. Never mind, I don't care. It's just Brutus.
Brother Brudi.
Brutus the barber beefcake, right, Conrad? Anyway. I understood that reference. That's not on any of my Hogan lists, for the record. Anyway, nor will it ever be. I love you, Sean, but nope. Alright. Number 6 gets serious.
Alright.
Number 6 is another simple phrase. Bischoff bashed in Baltimore. I didn't get the picture of the power bomb because I'm probably laughing too hard at watching Bischoff suffer, because it's always funny to watch him do that. Man, just the reactions to all this. Him asking if they're with the WWF, they say no. They demand to know who their opponents are going to be at the next show. Bischoff won't tell them. Hall gut shots him, damn near nut shots him, let's not kid ourselves. And Nash sends him for a ride that only people like Shawn Michaels know about when it comes to size, because, you know, Eric's a little dude.
I was going to say, like, you look at him next to Nash there, it's like he barely comes to his shoulder.
Yeah. He barely comes to Hall's temple. And Bischoff thought he flew far to North Korea. It's a little bit of a different kind of flight there off the stage there in Baltimore, brother. And Dusty's reaction's tremendous. Tony's selling it like Bischoff's dead. Just a great... And then Luger comes out to face the world champion, the Giant. He hops down off the stage and checks on Eric, TV title in hand, as he's going to try to regain the world title he hadn't won in 5 years. Arts of the Cell. Number 5 was a direct descendant of number 6. Because Bischoff woke up the next day in a hospital bed, had to decide if he wanted to be a victim or if he wanted to be part of the force. Fortunately for Eazy-E, Roddy Piper was just a little bit too smart for him. Found him out. Call him a piece of shit live on TNT. Oops.
As only Roddy can do.
As only Roddy can do. Here came the troops. The entire NWO freaking guts Roddy pretty much and holds him back. Because it takes 6 guys to hold Roddy Piper back. Because he's Roddy Piper and he's crazy. Gotta draw money. Gotta be back in the pay-per-view on Sunday. No retreat. No surrender. I'll have a contract in my teeth.
Pretty good, Roddy.
Thank you. I've been working on that for a while. The man was insane. God rest his soul. He was crazy. I know, for real. but Roddy being the one to out Bischoff. When there was no better swarmy, sneaky heel than Roddy frickin' Piper. Again, the irony is tremendous. But just the whole reveal. There's a guy out there named LL Cool J. He's a rapping kind of guy. He's got a song that says, "You mess with Roddy Piper and didn't get a hassle, you're a liar." He turns to Bischoff on a dime. Bischoff's like, "Shit, I done did it. Did I step in it? Did I track it in the ring? Because it sure smells like it." And just, I love the troops coming down. Like, the Giant grabs Roddy like Roddy owed him money. And then, like, freaking, Waltman's just, being a dick because Waltman's a dick. Just, Hogan walks in there and I love that he embraces Bischoff, and Tenay's the one that goes, ugh. Like, you can hear Tenay forcibly groan, like, ugh. Like, Tenay, what do you give a shit? Like, what the hell? What do you give a shit, Tenay?
I love Tenay.
If anybody should be Bobby, because Bobby's hated Hogan since Jump Street. So, it was just fun. But the whole moment, that whole segment, and then when Piper comes out at World War III in Norfolk and calls Hogan out, nWo music hits, and Bischoff's out of the curtain, and the announcers are still like, "Oh yeah, you guys were there Monday, right? You saw what happened. What'd you expect?" And Piper's stuff at World War III was tremendous, because they walk out and Bischoff's like eye to eye, and Vincent, sorry, my bad, brother. Over here, he goes, "First of all, I taught you how to fight, so back off." It's like, still did reference, right? Nobody gets it, but okay. And then, as they're talking, it's the same thing to Vincent again, and DiBiase sneaks around to the back like he's going to do something, and Roddy just keeps Bischoff by and goes, "And yes, I know you're there, DiBiase." And Ted just kind of walks back to where he was. It's like, even 5 years after the $1 million belt stuff with Virgil, DiBiase knows not to mess with Roddy Piper.
Damn right.
Like, everybody's got a price, Ted. Oh, no, not Roddy Piper. Roddy Piper's price is punch in the face. It's straight up. All right. You talked about media moments during your dissertation on your moment in my dissertation later, 30 minutes later, about Robin. If we're going to be honest on the nWo show, you talk about a media moment though. In the lead up to that encounter in 1998, they were on the Tonight Show, Mr. Hogan, Mr. Bischoff, and they just weren't on the Tonight Show. They took over. That is Eric Bischoff in Jay Leno's chair in Burbank, here in California, feet up on the Tonight Show desk, Hollywood foot up on the water table for guest number one, or maybe, no, it wasn't that because that was Johnny Carson. Guest number one's table, and I mentioned Johnny Carson would let this shit happen. Johnny had been punching people, Ed McMahon had been hi-ho the whole time, but it's still funny. And then the fact that Jay comes back in has DDP and Malone run him off, and off we go to the races for San Diego a few weeks later. I love everything took place in California. Burbank, San Diego. It's like, California's got some nWo about it. Right on, brother. I love it. It's all about Florida. No. It's all about here, kids. But yeah, Bischoff and Hogan taking over the flagship late night talk show. Tell me Letterman all you want and whatever. Jay Leno was the man back then. And for the nWo to take over the Tonight Show, there was no bigger media moment for my money. Even Planet Hollywood with Malone later. So there you go. Number 3, I know it was low on your list, but it's still a funnier than hell moment, and I had the exact same picture, so let's just go ahead and take care of it right now.
Mine's the whole episode, like the entire 2-hour broadcast.
Because the whole episode is just so numb to the soul. Because they showed, we don't care if you're bad, we don't care if you're good, we're badder, and we're better. Because the two of us, ball bats to take out the American males, Arn Anderson, and Rey Mysterio, and driving off with Randy Savage halfway hanging out of the hood of our red limousine, which was a picture in and of itself. And ambulances, fire trucks, cop cars, Nancy Benoit cradling Arn in her lap and just weeping at Arn's lament, and Mongo ready to piss off, ready to shoot nails and spit thunder out of everybody. Flair reduced to silence. Flair getting in the same ambulance as Sting because Bagwell and Arn are loaded in the same ambulance. It was everything the angle that ECW did with Tommy and the Sandman and the cigarette burn turned up, with the juice turned up 100 levels. Because it was on TNT, it was at WCW, it was at Disney MGM. Bonkers. Alright. My number 2 is A and B also. And 2A was your number 1, 2B was your number 4. 2B, 2A. Like you said, these moments don't happen. There is no Bash at the Beach. There is no Great American Bash the next weekend after Nash shows up with Bischoff taking that ride. None of it happens without these two guys taking that Turner money and going to Vince, meet the deal. It doesn't, off they go. And if you know I had number 2A and 2B there, then you got to know number 1 has to be the reveal of the third man. I love how I got Scott looking like he had just discovered some really hottie in the audience, like, ooh, look what I did! Ooh, looky out there! Nash looking down like, God, that fart's really gonna hurt when it comes out. I'm gonna try to push it anyway. Gene looking like, she's not that hot, Scott. What are you talking about? And Hulk's counting how much money he's gonna make this show alone because he makes like half the pay-per-view revenue anyway. Everybody's got their roles in life, children. Kevin smells the stinky. Scott sees the hottie. Gene denies it. Hulk's counting his money. Status quo, brother. Everything's situation normal. I made fun of myself and the entire group. And Gene Okerlund, who's dead, so he can't defend himself. My bad, Gene. Love you. Dick. I mean, that whole a month and a half period, Scott shows up, Kevin shows up, Hogan turns. There is no bigger NWO set of moments than those right there. And number 3, the Assault of Disney, is right up there with him because, like you said, that showed that, yeah, it's cute. We can show up with ball bats in the crowd and run you guys down in your ring. We're not joking around here. We have demands. You're not listening to us. We put cute little tarps around your logo at Disney, and you ignored us. You can't ignore us now. You just can't. Because we took out your roster. We scared the weasel away legit. Like Roman says on Fridays, acknowledge us. I know that even on the Horseman DVD, the great Jim Ross says, without the Horseman, there's no NWO, and there's no DX. And I can see that. I can sit here in my Hollywood Hogan shirt and my NWO hat, with you in the Wolfpack shirt next to me, and say that without the Horseman, we're not sitting here in this gear. But without the NWO, there is no fire lit under Vince McMahon's creative ass to do something. And that something was completely shift every freaking gear he ever knew. It was not in his nature to have his gimmicks be based in reality. And he did it anyway. And DX showed, first of all, that the Click ran the business. Click North, Click South. But reality characters can work. And without those 3 gentlemen throwing that up and being themselves with the volume turned up, like Steve Austin has always said, like Dwayne Johnson has always said, like Paul Levesque, Shawn Michaels, everybody's always said, I can even stay on a very, very unsteady soapbox here and say, without the NWO, the business itself does not reach the level it did. And I don't think I have a podcasting about the business now.
Bold statement.
As we say at the end of every show here every other week, what do you guys think? If you're watching at 7 o'clock Eastern, let us know over there next to JJ. If you're watching on demand, let us know down here. Now again, I usually run the ticker. You guys know how to pay me. I wanted this show to be what it is, because you have to remember, when the NWO started, I was 13 years old. I was in junior high school on summer between 7th and 8th grade. And because my grades had been so piss poor going into June, I was allowed to watch TV, but not pay-per-views. So I had to listen to the heel turn of Hulk Hogan through what us cool kids now call the Scramble Channel in my room in my house over on the other side of Candy Country. I could make out the shapes, kind of, but hearing the voices and hearing the crowd, you can hear the crowd suck the air out of the Ocean Center when Hulk goes up into the air to drop that leg. It is a moment in time. And it's so crazy to me that here I am 25 years later, and my first memory of the NWO as far as being an actual NWO named group is a scrambled image of it. Because that's how they got their product across. Scrambled TV and all this other shit. Beautiful. So it's almost a fitting beginning to my NWO fandom. And I was one of the very few people in my group that were Hulk Hogan fans that did not cast him aside like a leper. I was like, let's see where this goes. And it did go.
Yeah, it did.
It's still going now, brother. You go to WWEshop.com and visit NWO section. You know, I got this off WWE Shop. I got this off Hogan's shop on his website. You got yours off WWE Shop, yes?
Yes.
There you go. I got my Wolfpack shirt off ExtremeWrestlingShirts.com for crying out loud. As much as Austin 316 was a phenomenon, the NWO was a revolution. And they haven't stopped revolving yet. And with that being said, I will forever love the NWO. Like I said at the beginning, like I said when I started my turn, like we've always said for 25 years, for life. It is NWO for life. And I appreciate you being along for this ride, because I know that most of the wrestling fans in my circle would love to be a part of this. But it's Friday. It's our show. And I wanted you along, and I knew that you could pull off the Wolfpack side of it, because, you know, I got to be in black and white, brother, because that's just where I lay. But, and truth be told, I never liked the dark, the red-centric version of that shirt. When I had the option to buy that or the black with the red tint, I bought the black, because I've just always been the black tee guy. So I am happy that there is a red Kevin Nash, Scott Hall era, and I think even Luger wore that one, Wolfpack era shirt in the circle, because now we can have silly, you know, moments at wrestling events now, which is tremendous. I still need to get down to Florida and have Hollywood adorn this thing properly, but we'll get there. We'll get there. In the meantime, for the Renegade, J.P. Williams, I am West Coast Professor Jeff Meacham. Thank you all for watching our very special tribute to the NWO here on the DADS. I'm always on wrestling. Have a wonderful weekend. I'll see you on Monday for Talk Wrestling. Until then,
the preceding announcement has been paid for by the New World Order.